present, I have 6 songs or so out, 6 or 7, could be about that. And we're looking to release at least 4 to 5 more, because I'm doing my first actual soca album for 2015. It will include all of the songs that are out now, and I might possibly put Catch Me on it. Yeah, well, simultaneously, I'm also working on a second album, which is a mainstream album. It has nothing to do with soca, really. It's an album that has like pop and hip hop and those type of music on it. And at present, we've done 2 tracks so far with 2 finished complete master tracks. One with Boy Wonder, who's doing, who did Drake's album, and he worked with Eminem and people like that. And then the other one's been done with Major Laser's London Future. It is exciting, and it's even more exciting because we actually seeing the change that soca is making firsthand. I mean, the public in Trinidad, they see what happens, the ricochet effect, the after effects. We're seeing firsthand where soca was being played on mainstream radio stations like a segment, like they'd give us like a 15-minute segment and say, this is for soca. But now, because of the type of music and because of the way that the music is being done, they're actually mixing it in with the more popular R&B, hip-hop, EDM tracks. And they're no longer giving it a segregated space and saying, okay, this is the soca 15 minutes or the soca 10 minutes. They're actually just playing the music, which is awesome. Yeah, you can sing when you're doing soca music, but I think the emphasis is more on the energy and the vibe and the mashing up the party aspect. So we've seen people who have like limited vocal ability really rip an event in Trinidad, and then you realize that that can't possibly really work outside unless it's some sort of really exceptional case. They tend to focus more on your vocal ability, and they market you based on how you look, how you sound, if they're able to put you in a particular mold, like whether you be for kids of a particular age or adults or whatever the case is. And we have a pretty more simple way of doing it. You have a song, come and sing. You sing, people like it, they hire you, you perform, you mash up the place, and that's it. But it's a whole different ball game internationally. They have everything down to basically like a science. With Trinidad, I mean, it's Trinidad. They basically limit you by comments. So if you're trying to do something weird, whether it be a hairstyle a little funkier than most, or you put a color in it that's outrageous, and your clothing style is different to people's, they tend to, like, I don't want to say ridicule what you do, but they tend to not appreciate the statement. Exactly. So we don't appreciate individuality. We don't appreciate these things unless Beyonce, Rihanna, Kanye West, somebody international does it. Then we're like, ooh, did you see what Rihanna put in her hair? That's the color we're going with. But did you see what Kim Kardashian did with her clothing? That's what we want to wear. But if you're local celebrities or anybody local, a designer, whoever, just a regular person, decides to walk down the street with half his hair shaved and some really funky clothes, we're like, what is wrong with that person? But in the US and the UK, this is accepted. I mean, just walking on the streets in London is like walking into a big fashion show. The styles, the clothing, the hairstyles, the look, the makeup, it's all in your face. This is who I am. But in Trinidad, we wait for somebody international to do something, and then we jump on it and say, that's what we should do. That's how we should look. That's the type of weave we should buy, and that's the type of nails we should be wearing now. And that basically kills the fact that we actually have creative people who are capable of coming up with concepts just as fabulous as the ones that we're seeing internationally. But unless it's endorsed by a foreign celebrity, we don't appreciate it. And that's sad, because we're killing the creative people that we have in the country just by showing them we won't accept what you're doing unless it's done internationally. Like I've heard the 15 million comments about my hairstyle, and it won't change. They have to get used to it. This is me. I'm not changing for anybody. This is who I am. Internationally, from the time I walk into any building that we've been to, the first comment is, I like the hairstyle. I've never seen anybody with anything like that. It's different. Because the norm is to put the weave in your hair and wait for somebody to do something and then you do that. But when you have people who shave off half their heads and they just go crazy and say, okay, this is Kelly Osbourne. Her whole hair was purple. That's who she is. I mean, she's the daughter of the man that's famous for biting the heads of bats on stage. Her hair color is not the craziest thing her family has done, but it's accepted, and that's what's encouraged, and that's what the rest of the world follows. So I think if we take pattern and we start to really inspire the youths to be the difference, make the change, do something, probably we might be getting a lot more international recognition for a lot more stuff than just the limited amount of things that we get in international recognition for. I mean, our costumes alone is the talk of the town internationally. Could you imagine if we actually started to add stuff to the costume designing, like our makeup artists and hairstylists and fashion designers and all these people? Then we'd actually be a real force to be reckoned with, and not just the mental force that we think we are. Our costumes are actually the centerpiece for the Victoria's Secret fashion. When they advertise their new stuff, we have to bear in mind that people come to Trinidad every single year. They take our stuff. They like, for instance, I was down in the Florida Keys, and there's a band that plays steel band. Tourists love them. There's not one Trinidadian in the band, and they're there. And I remember going there when I was 19, and they were there. And there's still steel bands outside of Trinidad playing steel band. There's a Swedish band with all girls play steel band. They read the music, everything. Not one Trini. I've always had a philosophy that I live by, and I think that's what keeps me going when the day come. I'm like one of those people that don't need a cheering squad or people around you to get motivated. I'm self-motivated. I can get up in the morning and go do what I have to do when the day come, and if nobody says good job or congratulations, it's fine. I think that's what most people need to learn, because too much times we need that prep squad around us saying, oh, good job. And we don't understand that sometimes the most important opinion about you is what you tell yourself when the day comes, and especially when the day done. So if at day's end you're not happy with yourself, and the reason you're not happy with yourself is because nobody acknowledged what you did, or nobody gave you a pat on the back and say, job well done, well then you have a serious problem. So I think we need to learn how to think about ourselves, for ourselves, and not have people tell us who we are and commend us on the job that we're doing, because we know why we're doing what we're doing. So for me, my philosophy is always remember, at the end of the day, Christ came to save the world and they crucified him. You're just Fay-Ann Lyons. You can't save anybody. So you have to expect they will come at you, because we've become reliant on other people's opinion and other people's appreciation to live, to function. And we're not realizing that at the end of the day, the only person's genuine opinion that matters is how you feel. Because when you're alone and you're going through what you're going through, nobody's there. So you have to learn how to be strong by yourself. And then you can be strong in a crowd. Fay-Ann Lyons is simply complicated. I am simple in terms of I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like. And I'm complicated in terms of I don't make it an issue if people don't like what I don't like, and I don't make it an issue if people like what I like too. So for me, it's like, okay, the world is filled with different types of people, and I happen to be one of the people that happens to be next to one of the different people. So hey, if you cool, I cool. If you ain't cool, I still cool. So it doesn't really matter to me. Your movements don't ripple my pond. So the internet and social media has afforded people not the ability to just reach people and stay in contact with people, but it also, unfortunately, it's opened the door for everybody to think that they're psychologists, to think that they're doctors, to think that they're lawyers, because you can be anything that you want to be. You could be a supermodel on the internet and you're severely overweight behind your laptop. You could be the CEO of your own fictional virtual company, and behind you're actually broke and living in your mother's house. So with that, we have to take the good with the bad, and we have to understand that a lot of the people that's on the internet that say vicious things to people and use it as a weapon to attack people, they're actually hurting, they're actually upset, this is their way of venting. So what they do is they pick something that they think closest represent the thing that hurts them or that they're upset about, and they attack the people that resemble that. So if they don't like the way they look, they pick somebody who has an unusual look, or they have a look that, or somebody that they think has too much self-confidence, and they attack that person from that standpoint. Exactly. And it's just a matter of they want to vent. They need to vent. They have, and yes, it does have some evil people out there who just have nothing good about themselves. That this is just their daily chore to get up, go on the internet, troll around for people, and try and advantage people and make people feel just as crappy and as lousy as they feel. But the sad thing is, you could turn it off. And a lot of people don't understand. You're on the internet, you're on Facebook, and somebody is hurling all these obscenities and horrible stuff at you. Just take off your laptop. That's it. And no more comments. I mean, they'll be talking to cyberspace. Ignore them. Or do like me. I have fun. I respond to who I want to respond to, and it doesn't bother me much. You say what you had to say. I tell you what I had to tell you, and that's it. Because at the end of the day, I know people are like, well, you're a celebrity, you're not supposed to respond. Oh, really? No. I'm human too. So guess what? If you say something to me and I don't like it, or I find I want to respond, then it's within my right. Because the same court that granted you the ability to say something to me, it's the same one that granted me the ability to respond to you. So a lot of times it's a form of not having people step on you and taking back your power. That's why they tell people stand up to bullies. Because some bullies, if you just leave them, they take it as a sign of weakness. But the day you right back in the face, bullying stops. Because most bullies are actually weak. So they bully as a front. And that's what the internet does. Everybody's Hulk on the internet. Well, I think every day for me is the best time, because at the end of the day, it means I've lost friends along the way. So every day that I'm alive is the best time for me. Even if the day is not going as I planned or as I want to, whatever, is the best time. Because once you have life, anything else is possible. Everything else is a bonus. So I wake up every morning with the notion and the intention that I will at least enjoy one thing for the day. Even if the whole day is to crumble and fall apart, I will still enjoy the day. Even if it's just enjoying the fact that I'm breathing and I'm living to see another day, for me that's the best part. And I don't see stuff as the worst part. I see stuff as things that happened that I probably wasn't too happy about, but I still try to learn from it. I tend to be kind of optimistic about crap. People tend to be pessimistic about. Yeah, it's a crazy gene. Yes, I enjoy cooking and I enjoy watching TV. Sometimes together, cooking and watching TV at the same time. Yeah.
What's your best dish?
Well, that's the thing with me. I'm a very smart cook. I have a wide range of stuff I can make, so I stick with that. And if I have to branch out, I make sure that I can actually make it good first before I bring people to eat it. So yes, I experiment with some stuff, but the stuff that I experiment with is stuff that I know, it has some stuff, even if you tweak it a bit, it'll still taste good. Right. So Bunji is he's my taster. So I always keep like the phone close by in case we had to call the neighbor next door who's a doctor or something. Just in case, you never know. Experiment goes wrong or something.
And what's your favorite dish to cook?
Anything local. I like chicken foot soup. I love making soup because you can make it so many different ways. I like making saltfish and provision. That's awesome. You see, actually making me hungry now. And I love currying. I love currying goat and duck. Yes.
Like pilau, I love to cook.
Pilau is nice, but the thing with pilau, like some of my friends, they like the pilau wet, kind of like moist.
I like wet pilau.
And then some people like the pilau kind of dry. So if you have people over, it's kind of like, okay, I know some of them like it. So do I make it in between, or do I make it dry? What do you do? So it's funny. That's the thing with pilau. So you had to really know your crowd with pilau.
Oh, it's triplet.
Not good. Not good, but I'm not complaining. Because if it wasn't how it was, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I totally understand that sometimes in life, God gives you all the wrong answers for the exam. So when you're actually going to write the exam, you know what the wrong answers look like. So it's just to look for the answers that you're not familiar with. So technically that might be the right answer, if that makes sense. So I think people who grew up in scenarios where their childhood wasn't all that pleasant, could, I'm not saying should, because then that not everybody has the capacity to do certain things, but could look at it from the standpoint of you already have an idea of what life could be if you don't do the right thing. So if you grew up with alcoholic parents, you already have an idea of what life could be if you yourself become an alcoholic. If you grew up with an abusive mother or an abusive father, you already have an idea of what life could be if you choose to be abusive to your kids. Because if your parents are abusing you, then you know how they're feeling, you know what you're feeling. So imagine if you grow up and you're doing that to your kids, you have first hand. You know exactly how your kids will be feeling towards you. So for me, all the non-childhood friendly stuff that happened to me in the past, I use it as a blueprint. Like my dad and my mom separated when I was like very young. So like probably before I was even born. Because I never grew up in a home knowing the two of them there. So for me, it's very important that I am present and Ian is present in my daughter's life, even though we're traveling, because my dad traveled a lot when he was singing. So now, again, lo and behold, I'm singing and I've married a man who's actually singing too. So, and we're both busy and we have this beautiful young girl that we're in charge of. So now, because I saw the mistakes my parents made in managing their career and managing their kids, that's my blueprint. So my daughter, I adjust my time. Like we tend to rehearse in the night and we tend to do studio time in the night. And like how we have the office now, when she finishes school at probably like 1, 2 o'clock, depending on what she has, we bring her to the office to do homework with her. So we always try to find those hours where we could stick that time in. On Saturdays, once we're in the country, we do a baking session where I cook with her, and on Sundays, he goes outside with the drone and on the trampoline or in the pool or something, and so she gets the bond with him and she gets the bond with me, but during the week she gets the bond with the both of us, because it's very important that we keep that family aspect in her life. Especially being a young couple, I know a lot of times the pressure of having to balance family and career, and you want to be successful at what you do, but at the same time you don't want to sacrifice your family, but you're studying. If you don't sacrifice your family, if it's possible to make it international, or if it's possible to be famous still, and then all these different things with you and your husband always in the same place at the same time, and your fans and his fans, it's a whole thing. But once you find that center and find that balance, every single thing falls into place. And the balance and the center comes from knowing what's important. The most important thing is your family. At the end of the day, your fans, everybody, they will wait. And they will wait because you're good at what you do and they love what you do. And the only how you can continue being good at what you do is you have to find a balance. So for me, I know I can't have my cake and eat it too. I can't want to go to the club every Friday night and Saturday and lime and hang out and then expect I'll be up in time to do stuff with my daughter. Or I can't want to lime all about on Friday, Saturday, Sunday and expect I'll be up in time to get her ready for school on Monday morning. I had to cut out a bunch of extra stuff that so it's tasking, but I think if you love the people that you're doing it for, that makes any burden you're carrying easy.
She gets to travel?
Oh, she's been traveling from the time she was 2 weeks. 2 weeks and I was back out to work. She likes it, she loves it in fact, and we actually appreciate the fact that we're in a job that allows her to travel and see the world, because we've taken her to London, we've taken her to like all parts of the US. She's seeing the dinosaurs. She's like uber fascinated with dinosaurs. So we actually got the chance to take her to the Dinosaur Museum in New York and for her to see the fossils and all these things, and it was amazing. So for us, it's also a learning experience because we don't have some of the animals that she's fascinated with in Trinidad. So getting to take her out to the big zoos and and spend the day going to the different sections with the different type of animals is amazing, because she sees them in the books, but for to actually be able to see them up close and take pictures, and it's awesome. And then we get to take her to Disney, which is like every kid's and adult's dream. So it's nice to be able to carry her out, spend time with her, but at the same time show her the world from a different perspective. I think it is possible for parents to actually give their kids tools, and I think that's like the most you can do. They still have to grow up, and they still have to formulate their own ideals and their own ideas of what type of person they want to be, and how they want to interact with people, and just generally what type of behavioral patterns they want to develop. So it could go either way, but I think as parents, you basically have to give them as much material to work with as possible. So you don't just give them one particular type of thing. You don't just show them the good life and the nice side of stuff, and then you send a naive person out into the world that thinking everything's all fine and the world is round and peachy and everybody's lovey-dovey and holding hands and singing kumbaya. But at the same time, you don't show them the aggressive, nobody loves you side, where the world is this hateful, spiteful place and you can't trust anybody. You have to give them a balance of material, of tools, so that when they go out, they could start to formulate how you know a trustworthy person, and not just judge people based on, well, he in a suit and a tie, so he must be trustworthy, or well, his pants hanging off his butt, so he must be a gangster. So, and not stereotype people and put themselves in more trouble. So we have to be able to give them well-rounded tools, and you have to start from young. From the books they read, to the places you expose them to the people that you bring around them, to the TV shows you allow them to watch, to the conversations you allow them to hear. And simple thing like sex, a lot of parents don't speak to their kids about sex and drugs and alcohol and all these things and bad friends. And when their kids get in trouble, they're like, well, my child doesn't know anything about that, so it has to be one of their friends that's influencing them to do this. But on the flip side to that, there's a girl in the school that gets A's all the time. How come your kid's not influenced by this chick to consistently get A's? So I don't understand. If your child gets an A, it's your great job. But if your child gets a Z, it's the friends that the child is following. It's unfair, because parents need to understand, when you're pointing the finger at the other kids for leading your child down a bad road, the parents is also pointing fingers at you for your kid leading their child down a bad road. So it's a never-ending circle that needs to be broken, and we need to understand, yes, you make the child, but you don't make their mind, but you can also give them the right tools to influence the type of mind that the child goes into the world with. I think I'm still trying to basically do me. I think this is like the first year or so I've actually begin to explore all the facets that's Fay-Ann Lyons. Because I think the artist side that's on stage is one side that people see. They don't see the other 15 million sides of me. And possibly my fault too, because that's what I show. So I tend to control what people see, for a good reason too. But I don't think there'll ever be that moment where I say, yes, a breakthrough, because then that would mean that I would have accomplished everything and I'd have nothing else to do. So I hope that moment never comes, and I hope I always go from one strength to the next and keep finding new things about me to develop on, and new ways to expand on who I am as a person.
The biggest lesson you've learned?
The biggest lesson I've learned is that people don't know what they want. It's the biggest lesson. People think they know what they want. They don't know what they want. They know what they've been taught that they want. They know what society tells them that they should want. They know what their parents expect that they should want. But generally, most people have no clue what they want. Because if you were to sit 10 random people by a table and say, write on this piece of paper what you want and it shall be done, but about 2 people might start writing. And out of the 2, you might only get one something that makes sense. they don't know what they want. We want to be successful, but society tells you that success means go to school, get an education, get a job, and then you get your life. But I know a lot of people that went to school, got an education, got a job, using the job to pay for the school, to pay for the education, and they don't even have a car. They can't even afford a proper apartment, but they have the education. I actually know a girl that went for a job and they told her she's overqualified. Then she went for another one and they tell her she's underqualified. This is a girl that has like 9 subjects, O levels and A's and certificates and all these things. And she goes to the left, they ping pong her back to the right, and they ping pong her, and so she's been going. And the strange thing is, you're trying to figure out, but she did it right. She went to school, she got the education, she got the subjects, she has the qualifications. What is the problem? Because society told her, this is what you do. You go to school and that's what you do. So probably that's not what she wanted, but she did it. So a lot of people don't know what they want.
Pleasing everybody else.
Because that's what society tells you. You have to please people, from the way you look, to the way you speak, to the type of job that you do. If you do something that's too far-fetched of a job, like in Trinidad, a lot of people don't see certain things that in the US making kids multi-million dollars a year as a job. Skateboarding. Do you know how many skateboarders in the US have bought houses and have money set for life, and they don't have a college education? In Trinidad, we see skateboarders and we look at them like, why is he wasting time with a skateboard? But they have X Games where riding bike and doing all those tricks, it's big money. But here, we don't encourage that because it's like, doctor, lawyer, teacher, police, fireman, that's it. Even being a musician is like, a musician? Yeah, that's where the uneducated people go when they can't really, cut it in school. They go and they learn music, they go and they sing. And I'm like, do you know how difficult it is to learn to read music, and write music, and score a song, and play an instrument? It's difficult. We think if we say, listen, this guy, Apple, no college education, look what he did, then we'd actually be inspiring kids to not go to school and see if they could be a next Steve. So we will speak of the end result because he's a success, but we won't speak of what he did by not going to college, because it's a scary thought to think that my child might actually decide not to go to college or not to go to school and fail. Because we like the risk you take only if it pans out to be good. If you take a risk and it doesn't actually pan out to be a rewarding venture for you, never mind, it might be a rewarding venture for the person that's coming up behind you, because we've seen where people have done stuff in medicine and they've only reached this far, and then somebody else came after them and actually finished the theory or finished the work that the person actually started. But the person who did the initial work, he wasn't hailed as a hero. It's the person who came and completed the thing. It was like, wow, good job. But the initial person who started it was the one who laid the foundation. They paved the way and they brought the thing into the light where there was something to finish. But we don't give them any credit. It's the guy behind who finished. So the world likes winners. They don't like pioneers and trailblazers.
What would you be doing if you wasn't doing this?
Something with, I don't know, probably I might be in law, or I might be a psychologist or something. Yeah, people tend to tell me their problems. I'm good at giving advice on life and relationships and stuff like that. I think I'm one of those people that marriage agrees with.
Goes into being people.
Very much so. And I would employ people to you choose carefully when you get married, because having to live with somebody 24 hours a day, and then as the cosmos would have it, I work with him 24 hours a day also. You need somebody that not just cute in the face, but with a personality that you can actually stand, and somebody that can actually tolerate your personality and all your shortcomings. Exactly. Because if you're put in that space and you're seeing the person all the time and you're all really not in sync, it's going to be volatile. It's not going to be a good situation at all. The thing is, I think our situation is we have so much to do, and everything that we have to do incorporates and involves each other so much that it doesn't make sense for us to have things lingering, because then your whole life was shut down.
And then go to your strong people.
Exactly. And then he comes from a very, very religious, spiritual family. So for them, you don't let the sun set and go to sleep angry. And if you know his background, all his brothers that were married, that have gotten married when they were like in their 20s, 19, 20, and they're still married today. Resolve it, because one of you might not wake up the next morning and then you'll be sorry that you didn't say what you had to say. And then whatever it is you was fussing about would seem like trivial. So you might as well just resolve it. I have a bunch of OMG moments, and most times it has to do with people saying dumb stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Like one of my OMG moments is like, I go to the gym morning and evening, and I'm listening to the radio on my way to the gym, and I'm hearing this person calling in and saying, well, you know, Fay-Ann just got beat up in a hotel. I think it was one of those hotels of the road, because I was seen with Beanie Man coming out of the hotel, and Bunji came and it was fight and stuff like that. So I think JW was like, what nonsense are they talking to the people? And the radio plays in the gym. I show up in the gym because the person says apparently I'm like bleeding and stuff like that. It happened like the night before. So I show up in the gym and I'm waiting to see what people would say. And one of the instructors walk up and say, but I just heard you got beat up in the hotel. What type of concealer are you using? I'm not using any concealer. I said, well, where's the bruise? You're real hiding them thing. And I'm like, oh, you know, I don't wear makeup to come to the gym. So the gym was cracking up like, yo, these people are good. I mean, how could you see? But here's the thing, right? Here's the funny thing. What the person saw, I really was with Beanie Man, not in the hotel. Bravo had his birthday party and Beanie Man came. So Beanie and I were linemen. What they don't know is Beanie Man is my daughter's godfather. So when they see me and Beanie talking, they're probably thinking, oh my God, something's going free on Beanie Man. If you ask Beanie, Sarai is Beanie's goddaughter. So it was mad funny. And then Ian was like, but I drove you home. So I don't understand. But it's just crazy to see the distance people would go to and say stuff. And then there was another issue with something happened and somebody called the radio station and said, yes, since in school she like that. Since in school. I remember when she went to Shogunas, she had this attitude, and then the announcer was like, ma'am, Fay-Ann is from South. She didn't go Shogunas, like she went to school in some area. And she, oh, okay. And I said, like, hold on. What is wrong with these people? Listen, they won't stop. They won't stop. It's normal. And then, I think the funniest of all was that my daughter was a midget, because there's this guy that performed with Ian in like 99 when he now come up called Cyclops. He does comedy stuff. So Ian refers to him as his brother. So Ian's like, my brother Cyclops, this and that, my brother. So when Sarai was born, because she was born premature, we didn't show her, you know, because we were busy trying to figure out, okay, how we're going to do touring and stuff like that. And it's like, because she performed for Carnival, the baby retarded, the baby have an issue, the baby's a midget. So we're like, what nonsense? Where's the people getting stuff? You know, yes, because Bunji have a brother who's a midget, so she got the gene from them. So we're like, okay, cool, no problem. A year and a half to 2 years later, we took Sarai to be square. So we brought her out on stage. So I'm like, well, last year y'all didn't get to see her because she was born. But this year she's a bit older. I'd like to welcome Fay-Ann Lyons-Alvarez. And then she walked out. The crowd started screaming. Facebook messages is coming in. She only put the child out there because people were saying the child retarded. So I'm like, okay, totally skip over the fact that people was wrong that the child was retarded, and address the fact that I'm putting the child on stage because people were saying the child retarded. So there was no comment about, you see, well, they say the child retarded, look, the child healthy and fit. Now they're like, shouldn't you do that? Because people were saying, can I think about chicha? I'm like, you cannot win with these people. Oh my gosh.